Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm the Monk, and today, yes, we are in Mountain Blades 2 Bannerlords for yet another tips video. I figured I'd go over a few more little trips and tips that I think will help you go through your game. Now, most of these are going to be kind of like late game tips. However, some of them are going to be useful from the very beginning of your game. So if you do have any kind of tips you want to add, and don't forget to pop them down in the comments. It's always great when the community kind of get involved. Now, one of the tips I wanted to share with you today is actually how to get your troops to target someone on the battlefield. Like, for instance, if you hold L1 and you get, for instance, the cavalry to target the cavalry of the rival enemy. Now, this is really easily done just by having the units that you want to use already selected, and then you move your arrow over to the opponents that you want to attack, and it will kind of like be highlighted. And when it's highlighted, you know it's working. So once I have them ready and highlighted, ready to go, I can then issue a command like advance or charge or whatever it is you want to do. Now, I find this so useful. I feel like the enemy cavalry archers are the bane of my existence when it comes to military fighting. So trying to, target them and get them dealt with as soon as possible is really important. Doing this, targeting certain individual formations, means you can pick off the enemy one by one. Incredibly useful. And also something that I missed for like over 100 hours of playtime. Now, my next tip in this video is going to be about recruiting lords. Now, there's a lot to discuss when it comes to recruiting lords. One of the things that I think is most important and hardest to understand or know about, especially if you haven't really played this game too much before, is that you need to give a clan a reason to come to you. So if you are a small kingdom, if you only have one or two fiefs, then why would they leave a larger kingdom? It doesn't really make sense. Why would they leave a kingdom if they have property? Again, doesn't really make sense. So what you need to do is target the kingdoms that have already been battered. And if you're far enough in the game to actually be able to recruit clans, then that should already have happened. Now, once you find who you want to recruit, you found a kingdom that's smaller than yours, you found a clan that perhaps does not have any kind of land, you can use the encyclopedia to find their last known whereabouts, track that location, and try and have a chat with them. Now, one thing I would recommend is I would save. I would save before you attempt this. As you can see that I'm saving right now. The reason for this is it doesn't really matter how good your charm is. Of course, having decent charm, having a few different perks within the charm tree can certainly help. There is a chance that the conversation won't go your way. And depending on a few different things, you just simply may not be able to get them. If you get a critical fail, this can seriously mess up your chances of ever getting them as well. Now, when you get them to talk about their liege, what you're looking for is this. It's perhaps my favorite line of text in the entire game. What are you saying exactly? Well, you then have to complete a little minigame. All you have to do is fill up the little marks that it wants. You do get 4 questions. Now, you can fill these up any which way you want. I got a critical success here, which gives me 2 already, good points. But you might get an ineffective. So keep that in mind. And if you get a critical fail, that conversation is therefore over. Once you've successfully filled those little bubbles up, you then have to pay them. You can pay them any way you want, but essentially you're getting them to leave another kingdom, and so they're going to want a little bit of payment for that. Now, one thing I always say for a happy kingdom, you need your clans to be happy. Now, a clan will not be happy if it does not have a fief if it does not have land, a place to call home, because after all, everyone wants to be their own little king. Now, you can simply hit dinars and hit the little hands. That will automatically give you the right amount of money in order to get the deal over the line. Or in this case, I have the ability to actually give her a fief. It's not something I would recommend you do. It might be hard for you to do it, especially if you don't level up tradesmen. But making sure each of your clans have thieves and have land, creating a balanced kingdom where everyone owns land is so important to a healthy kingdom. Just wanted to add that part in. And as you can see, I'm not shy of making my own companions their own clan as well. I do it several times. If you've got spare castles, give them to your companions, make them their own clan, and you're going to be a lot happier for it. I have shown this process off in previous videos, but like for instance my clan of Saxons, the Celts, the Jedi, the Sith, the Danes, the Vikings, they are all companions that I gave a castle, I spent influence, and I gave them money. It's very expensive to do it, but it is something I think is worth doing because it creates those extra parties there on that field of play, making your kingdom stronger. Of course, these clans are a poor excuse for one of those big clans that you're going to be able to get. You have to remember they're going to be spawned in at clan tier 2, clan tier 1. It's going to take them a long time to build up that clan tier and be able to get more parties in and, of course, become stronger. Now, my next tip that I wanted to share with you guys is that now I've already shared that I like to break the walls down before I go into any battle. When it comes to sieging, I make sure I smash those walls down. So that way my armies can just go charging in. I think it is the best way to siege a castle. Yes, there's repair costs. However, what it does allow you to do on top of that is for you to stay on top of your horse, and you can charge right through that wall just like everyone else. Now, you on horseback, you're going to be able to break those enemy lines so easily, just cutting straight through them and delivering absolute havoc. Another tip I'd like to share, I have shared in a previous video, is I do think it's really important to have a personal guard along with you. Now, for me personally, I use cavalry. I think 20 to 30 troops just to follow you around that battlefield is so important. If you see an opening, if you see a load of troops that you want to pick off, if you just want to flank your enemies while ordering your other army to just pop in, they're there to do their job, and it's so useful. You can even double up with the tip that I shared earlier about getting them to target a particular formation. And sometimes that shock and awe of, a cavalry charge, that not being your main cavalry, can really turn the scales of battle. The next tip I consider to be a great time saver. Now, as you can see, all of my crafting materials, for instance, my food, my things that are just really important that I want to keep forever, I actually have them locked. Now, what that means is that I'm able to press RT and just ship everything else into a shop, meaning I can just pop in, press RT, and it throws everything, sells everything in that city straight away, apart from the things that I had locked. Now, what you're looking to do is just tick the little circle next to the price of the item, and it will light it up in gold and lock that item. So when you press RT, it won't be sold and it won't be thrown into the store. Now, my next tip is one that I use a lot. I'm currently at war with Valandia. Now, what I like to do is jump into wars, deliver absolute shock and awe, hit them quite a lot, take a lot of their land. Obviously, all of that is easier said than done. However, Valandia right now are in a stage where I could potentially wipe them out, but yet I still have a lot of other people on the map. There's still a lot going on. There's still a lot of game left. So why would I do that? I say it's far better to beat them, take their land, still leave them a little bit. I mean, we are vastly winning this. However, I can currently make peace, and if I do, as we can see, we will be receiving 1,700 dinars per day as tribute. That means the Valandians are essentially paying for a couple of my well-stocked garrisons, meaning that I'm getting extra money every single day just from winning a war. So instead of wiping them out, no. They get to be my personal piggy bank, paying me money every single day. And if you manage to build up a number of kingdoms doing this exact same thing, this tribute money can seriously stack up. And that's how I fund most of my kingdoms. My next tip is actually a simple one, but it is one that people may overlook. Banners can be so important. Some of these banners that you can put on yourself and all of your companions can seriously boost your troops and your armies. We are talking about severely boosting melee damage or melee resistance or troop speed or shield strength, you name it, these banners can do it. So be on the lookout for decent banners. Roguery, if you level up your roguery, you can increase the level quality of gear you get after battles, which is where I get all of my banners. You get them after battles. Seriously, something not to overlook, and it is something I overlooked for a very long time. My next tip is an interesting one. It's one that I discovered by accident a while ago now, and that's that you can actually ride your horse upstairs. Now, it can't go forwards, no, but it can back upstairs. Now, if you do need to clear the battlements, this is a good way of getting an extra helping hand. Next tip, war. Now, when targeting who you should attack next, something I would take into consideration is not only the total strength of that empire, because of course that's really important, not only the land that you want to carve for yourself, because again, that's also very important. What I would choose, however, is an empire that is already at war. So if I was to choose, for instance, Valandia, well, that means their main focus would be me because they are not currently at war with anybody. However, if I choose the Northern Empire, as you can see, they are currently fighting 3 wars already. So their total strength of 4,000 is already very weakened because they can't fight a war on 3 fronts at once, especially with a total strength of that size. Meaning if I go to war with them now, they should be a pretty easy target. And like I say, only fight battles you already know you've won. My next tip, we're going to take it back to clans once again. Now, people say that clans cost a lot of money, too much money for them to be able to afford, which is again why a big tip is to make sure you have absolute bank before starting a kingdom. We are talking between 2 and 5 million. Now, sometimes when it comes to clans, it's not just, for instance, your relationship to them or the relation between the size of your kingdoms that matters. As you can see, this clan, their wealth is average. I mean, they've actually got a pretty decent amount of money. You can see their clan strength as well, and of course their relation to me. All these things are going to determine how expensive this clan is going to be to pry it away from the kingdom it's currently in. Sometimes if you've got a clan that is just too expensive, don't bother signing it. No matter how much you want it, you can find clans out there for just next to nothing wanting to join you. Next up, did you know that if in your kingdom, now this is whether you are ruling your kingdom or just a vassal of your kingdom, you can disband an army. It does cost you influence in order to do it, and that can vary on how much, but if you want a party member in your army, it's a really good way of taking it out of there and putting it into yours. After all, your own clan members cost absolutely nothing to join your army, so why should they ride free in someone else's army and not yours? And my very last tip for you today is level roguery. Level roguery, win battles, capture prisoners, and sell them in the tavern. 71,000 dinars for these troops that I'm selling right now. That is how you make bank in Bannerlords if you're not smithing. But guys, that is all I have for you in this video. If you learned something new, if you enjoyed what you watched, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts and more tips down below. We do also have an active and growing Discord. You can find the link down in the description of the video. It'd be great to have more of the community involved to chat about a game and to share stories. But until next time, I've been a monk, we've been Inquisitor Curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, happy gaming.